I've never had a jumpsuit before, and of course I don't have a pattern either. Hi! Before starting this video, let me say a big thank you to all the people that have subscribed from Lisa's channel. Lisa has a really nice channel and so on, and if you don't know her, go and have a look and subscribe. And to all the new people, I hope you enjoy this channel and all the things I do. I'm self-taught and I'm just learning as well, so just to let you know. It is a one piece, well, of course it's a one piece, but I mean, it goes all the way up and it has a central seam in the front and back, well, and sides, but I mean, it's not a top and trousers, it goes all the way up. That's really well explained, isn't it? I designed them calf length and the back will be lower and it will have a zipper on the back as well. I chose this fabric that has these really cute dots. They look like buttons really, and the design has these partitions, so I think it will hide the seam really well. It's a light cotton, really soft. I washed it yesterday and it didn't wrinkle, so that's a plus. And it is made in Spain, which is really important as well. And I was thinking that because it's the first time I'm doing this, I want to make a toile, like a mock-up. I have this piece of fabric that I bought. I showed it in a haul a few months ago. It's really nice. I was thinking to make the toile in this fabric, and that way, if it turns okay, I have 2 jumpsuits. And if it doesn't, I've ruined it, but that's the risk. Marie Antoinette is no use for us today, so it's up to ourselves. We need to measure around our waist, our hip, our thighs, knee and ankle. We need to measure the length of our trousers from the waist to the ankle, then the length of our hip from the waist to exactly where we measure our hip, and the length of and the inner seam from our ankle to the crotch. For the top, we need to measure around our chest and the length of our front and back, where we want the top to land, and the width of our back and the width of our shoulders. In a minute we'll see how we're going to trace this pattern, but this will be the block of a pair of trousers. After drafting and cutting the front bit, we can use it to trace the back with a few adjustments that we'll see in a minute. This is a perfect block of trousers to fit you really well, so I want to keep them. And in order to do that, I'm going to trace the jumpsuit on another piece of paper. The first 3 lines we're going to trace are the easier ones because they frame your trousers, and it is the waistline, the length and the ankle line. Now we're going to trace the hip line, and for that we're going to use the measurement from hip to waist. For the crotch line to be really accurate, we are going to subtract the length minus the inner seam, and that will be our measurement. And the knee line will be half this. Now that we have our horizontal lines, it's time for the vertical ones. And the first one is the hip. We are going to divide our hip measurement by 4 because we are sewing 4 panels, trousers and sewn in 4s. And I'm going to trace it as well on the waistline so it is straight. Now from this new line I can add the waist measurement, divided as well by 4. and join it with the hip. To get the crotch length, we are going to divide the hip by 4 because bodies are like that apparently, and then we're going to trace the curve quite carefully, not like I did at first, then I changed it because I did it quite low. To get the grain line, we're going to measure halfway the crotch line, and we're going to trace that line all the way along the trousers. And from this new line, using it on its half, we can now trace the thigh, knee and ankle measurement divided by 2, not by 4. Drawing these lines means that we now have our front finished. Now we are going to cut it so we can trace the back bit. We need to elongate the crotch line, adding the same amount we had from the vertical hip line to the crotch, and then lower it a centimeter. And halfway the back of our waistline, we are going to add those centimeters all the way up to rise the waistline. And these few centimeters we took from the back, we are going to add on the front bit. These are all the changes we needed to do to get our back piece, and now we can add 2 centimeters on each side. Apparently we have to do it, and that's it. So we can cut it, and that way we have our blocks ready. I was quite nervous about this part, and I'm really happy with it. I've been trying stuff I've done before, like the picnic trousers, and it looks like the measurements are okay and it will fit properly, I hope. And I didn't add the top of the jumpsuit because I want to keep this as a template, as a block. And now I will do it again on another piece of paper to add the top bit. And to trace the front of the jumpsuit, I'm going to add the measurements, the front arm from the waistband to the shoulder, and on the side, taking into account the chest line divided by 4 as well. So that way I can draft the armhole area and the shoulder bit and neckline as well. And to trace the back, I'm going to use the front as a template and put the back piece on top. So that way I can use those measurements, it's already done. And the only thing I have to change is the zipper bit, which is a bit lower. all this business from the waistline up, it's my own conclusions, so I don't know how it's going to turn out, but it looks good, it looks logical to me, so I keep doing this. Let's see how it works. With our fabric folded in half by the grain, we're going to trace our 2 patterns so we can get 4 panels, and we're going to sew them like trousers, front with front, back with back, and all around. Then at the zipper, hem them, sew the neckline and armholes. Well, I know the flower fabric is the mock-up or the toile, but if it turns out okay, I can keep it. So, because it's a floral pattern, I didn't want to have the seam in the front, so I cut it all in once. So now I have 2 front pieces for the trousers bit and the top, and 2 long back pieces. So let's sew it all together and see how it does. It's not that I am surprised that it looks okay and it's wearable, but well, I really am. I'm quite pleased with this. I can't believe this is the toile. It looks like the good one, but I'm really happy about it. What's happening with the lights? I did the hem folding twice, and the same with the armholes, and I'm going to do the same with the neckline once I sew the zippering. And then we're off to sew the good one. I just finished zigzag stitching everything, and I had a little problem with the invisible zipper, and it was that I couldn't get the stitches to go quite near the teeth. And it is because apparently I've just looked on the internet to see if there was a trick, and the trick is that there is a special foot for invisible zippers, and I didn't know that. So I will get one as soon as possible. It looks okay, but I'll do it again once I have one. And the only problem I had with the pattern block I made is that the armhole bit is tiny, is for a baby. So I just cut it a bit more, and it's a bit more open now, so it should be okay. So now that I have my pattern and my piece of material, and I did the 12, this should be easy peasy, shouldn't it? Let's see. And these are the results. I hope you've liked them. And because I wasn't sure about if my pattern was right or not, I decided to make the toile. What was a bit risky was to make it in a good fabric, it was supposed to be something else. And it was even riskier to change the pattern, cut it on the waist instead of following the pattern I had drafted. But it turned out okay. I didn't want to cut the florals into a vertical shape. I thought it would look weird, so I think it looks nicer. And I think they would look even nicer if they had some belts attached to it. I don't know how much fabric I have for that, but it would be really nice to have a sort of belt with a big bow on a side. I had never had a jumpsuit before, and now I have two. I'm really enjoying pattern drafting. I thought I will never do, but obviously things fit much better when they are made to your size. And that's what I like the most about having the channel, that I'm learning quite a lot. Sometimes all the time, life gets in the way of hobbies, and there's always something more urgent to do than coming down to sew. So I always say coming down because I come down. So that's what I like the most, that it makes me do stuff and it makes me learn. And now I'm quite willing to learn. It's not that, I have to do this. No, now I like it. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know which one you like the most, what version, or how would you wear it, or anything you like to say. And that's all. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments what you think, which one is your favorite, or what you have done differently, anything you like to say. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything. See you in the next one. Bye.